Hi, I'm Kent Smethers, a professor here at the Wharton School, and now I'm going to give you a quick overview of the new immigration reform policy simulator that's available at the Penn Wharton Budget Model Group. Notice that you have several different graphs that you can look at, things like total population size and number of jobs, the old age dependency ratio that's very useful for things like understanding how many young people that we have per older retiree, and then of course gross domestic product (GDP) that people often care about. So now let's consider different policy combinations. Each one dial control here has five selections, and we have three policies altogether. So that's 125 different policy combinations that you can get and see yourself. For each policy combination, the actual simulation model takes several hours to run in the case of immigration, but we use advances in cloud computing to give you instant feedback on the results because we pre-computed everything for you. All right, let's go through the different policies. Let's think about increasing the net amount of legal immigration. Right now, from this tooltip, you can see that net legal immigration to the United States currently amounts to about 800,000 people per year. And some of the policy ideas out there is to maybe increase that, maybe 25% a year. And not so surprisingly, population goes up. Total number of jobs are going to go up. And GDP is also improved because of more workers in the economy. And the old age dependency ratio is slightly improved as well. In particular, we're going to have fewer older people per worker because immigrants are coming in typically during working age. And we are able to track that fairly precisely using census level data. All right, let's talk about some other potential changes here. And the first one is, or the second one, sorry, is changing now the composition of the net legal immigration. Right now, as you can see from this tooltip, about 35% of the U.S. adult legal immigrants have a bachelor's or advanced degree. So the idea here is that we can now increase that percentage without actually changing the 800,000 number of legal immigrants per year. And so we can look at a couple of things like, what happens to GDP here. Suppose we go from 35% to 55%. And notice it's a slight positive. It's not huge. It's true that the values here are in trillions of dollars, but you can move your mouse over and see the actual numbers. Or if you want to, you can always zoom in on a particular set of years and get even more precision there if you'd like. And in particular, the blue line is the current policy. The red line is the effects of the new policy. And the reason why it's not a big impact is that legal immigration flow at 800,000 per year is not that large of a fraction of the U.S. Population workforce. And so going from 35% to 55% of being college educated is only going to add around 160,000 college graduates per year, and that's only about 1/2 of all college educated workers in the economy. And so it doesn't have a tremendously large impact. All right, now let's look at a couple other policies. And the one is to potentially increase deportation of unauthorized immigrants. So now we're really shifting from legal status to unauthorized immigrants. And the other one is to offer legal status, just the opposite, to unauthorized immigrants. And we can see from the tooltip that there's about 11.3 million unauthorized immigrants in the United States. And so if you choose to go, say, this direction of legalization, this is saying we're going to be legalizing roughly around 10% per year. So within a decade, we'll have legalized everyone. And so let's look at the impact on jobs. And this may be really surprising to a lot of people. As we legalize, And notice jobs actually slightly go down. It's not a huge change, but it does. It's actually legalization actually leads to fewer jobs. Again, not a big change, but it is technically negative. And the intuition there is that if you're currently unauthorized, you pretty much have to work and in order to survive. And so unauthorized workers actually have a higher labor force attachment rate or participation rate than those that are authorized. Authorized workers are able to now go to school and therefore not be in the workforce for a period. They're able to look for a better job, a more appropriate job because they can qualify for unemployment insurance, things like that. And so that tends to reduce jobs. The impact on GDP is basically a wash. There's no particular theoretical reason this should be the case, but in terms of our rather detailed calculations, it's basically a wash, and it has almost no impact on GDP. And the intuition there is that even though the number of jobs has gone down a little bit, once you are converted to legal status, again, you're able to go to school, you're able to get more productivity, and so as a result of that, the impact on GDP is next to nothing. Now let's think about what happens when we go the opposite direction, where we start deporting at, say, 10% per year within a decade. Everybody would be, all the unauthorized illegal immigrants would be deported. Now notice the impact on employment is now much more negative. And the reason behind that is that we're losing people. It's like 100% detachment now for the workforce for unauthorized immigrants. And the native-born participation rate in the labor market cannot possibly rise enough to meet that gap, that reduction in the number of jobs. And GDP also goes down pretty substantially. You can see by 2035. Close to $1 trillion reduction in GDP. And so, both these policies have been kind of advocated on both sides as saying that they're going to increase the number of jobs or increase GDP. In fact, neither policy works in the way that it's often been presented. And so you can try many other combinations yourself. Again, you have about 125 different combinations to choose from. And again, many combinations I've even explored myself. So try it yourself and make up your own mind. Thank you.